Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Big D. You are listening to the Saturday, January the 30th edition of the Big D Show in 2016. And I want to thank you all for joining me. I have a real exciting show for you. Of course, I will be attempting my first audiobook rendition of my good friend Victor YAKISH. Of course, be sure to follow him on Twitter at VicYak. His book and ongoing novel series, of course, the Tumblr sensation Drifting BOZA. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining me. Of course, this show is brought to you by Negdog.com. Be sure to use the promo code Negdog at all of our sponsors and affiliates to receive an exclusive bonus from the Big D Show. I'm going to try and do as much as possible that I can get through in this episode. I will be attempting to at least get through the intro portion, so be sure to click along in the link in the description, and you can read along with my audio recording. So I also want to pre-warn everybody out there that I am one-taking this recording, so if I do mess up a word, I will stop, restart the word, and keep going from there. Just fair warning, there will be some mistakes. So thank you all for joining me on this expedition. This is Drifting BOZA. And this is the intro to Drifting BOZA, narrated by Dominic Neglio, Big D. My name is Franklin BOZA, and I am an American citizen. Don't get the wrong idea, though. When I say I'm an American citizen, I don't mean I'm some extremist, patriotic, redneck piece of white trash. I don't have a Confederate flag hanging in my bedroom, and I don't sport that lame-ass camo that makes it look like you're out hunting 24/7. Got it? Good. All jokes aside, I do love my country, or at least what it stands for. I think people, even the founding fathers, got that shit twisted. What it's supposed to stand for, a land where a man or woman can make a living for himself or herself, and not have to fear some angry militia picking off them and their family, or some half-lunatic king creating extreme laws that are a metaphoric pillow being held down tightly on your face. America is a place where you can make your own way, make your own decisions, believe what you want, eat what you want, and fuck anyone that consents. I feel as if people miss the true meaning behind the freedom in this country. It's not your place to judge others. Freedom is the right to mind your own goddamn business and keep your biased opinions inside your own small mind. People constantly preach about the American dream and how it's achievable to anyone. If you do indeed live in this fantasy land where anything is possible, allow me to personally enlighten you. You are set up on a destined path from the moment you were born. It has mostly everything to do with who your parents are. Think about it. Nearly every single celebrity's kids follow in their footsteps. Nearly all professional criminals' children become criminals. Parents are who mend you and your way of thinking. Parents are who mend you and your way of thinking. Whether you want to believe that shit or not, it is a fact. You grow up seeing your parents' way of life and however they live. It is the way you will perceive normality. You pick up their positive and negative traits, mostly the negative ones, and this is what sets you on your destined path, your parental guidance. I had no fucking chance of being a functional member of society. My father was a piece of shit loser who was never there, and my mother is an impulsive bipolar mess. I don't discredit my mother's attempt at raising me, though. She did the best she could at hiding me from all the terrible things that inhabit this world. She moved me out the slum she grew up in and did her very best at finding me a reasonable father figure and a place to call home here in Tampa, Florida. But as I previously stated, destiny is inescapable. All the darkness she hid me from and the inner demons I possess, due to most of my father's faults and some of hers, have found me. It's too late to turn that shit around, or even question it. It is what it is. I am a drifter, been so since birth. That is my destiny, and that is my fate. There's no one to blame. It's just the hand I've been dealt. Even as I sit here in this jail cell, I have no regrets. All I see is what's straight ahead. All that matters now is figuring out the next move. I am leaving you very much in the dark here, and for that I apologize. It's difficult to explain how I got here in one sitting. A year ago, I really would have laughed if you told me I'd be sharing a cell with my whiny compadre, Jacob. This pussy Jew can't handle the lifestyle we've chosen. That much I know. I lied when I said I had no regrets. I regret involving him in any of this bullshit. My blind impulsiveness, which I can blame my mother for, was the fault there. I was too caught up in the moment and dragged everyone I was close to into my negative influence. No matter all that now, I still agreed with the same motives I had when I got into the narcotics business. I mostly blame the good old U.S. economy. Let me lay down a few facts for you here. I'm a post-high school graduate, class of 2013. Most assume college is next, yeah? Go fuck yourself. The average price for college tuition, public schools mind you, with fees included, is about $9,000. And if you have $36,000 lying around that you're willing to just give some punk-ass 19-year-old? No, didn't think so. I work at a popular fast food chain restaurant where I quickly earned my way into a management position. Starting wage was $7.93. The raise for my promotion brought me up to $9 an hour. Corporate companies are able to work you 40 hours a week and pay you every 2. They don't fuck me over because of my exceptional work performance, so on average I get the full 40. The multiplication of 9 and 38 is what, kids? The multiplication of 9 and 80 is what, kids? 720. Good job. But it doesn't stop there. Good old Uncle Sam has to eat too. So about 150 or so gets deducted from that. Just to keep it in simple terms, I end up with about $570 at the end of that paycheck. Bi-weekly means I get paid on average twice a month. So I pull a little more or less than $1,000 each month. I recently moved, got kicked out of my asshole stepfather, out of my parents' house with my girlfriend Alexis and my longtime friend Carlo. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, $840 a month, so I only pay a third of that. I also pay my car insurance, which is about $120 a month, and my phone bill, which is about $100 more. With all the cool up-to-date shit the kids love these days. So if you're good at math, that's already over half my monthly income. Add in water and electric payments. We also have to eat. My car is a fucking gas hog, so I spend close to $200 a month filling that piece of shit up. I live paycheck to paycheck. It's a fucking nightmare. So when I was offered the chance to make good money, tax money, free... We'll restart that paragraph. I live paycheck to paycheck. It's a fucking nightmare. So when I was offered a chance to make good money tax-free and keep my day job, which I like for some reason, I took the shit. I'll take it again and again if you keep putting me back in that moment. I love money. I love the smell of it. I love dressing nice, and I love how having lots of it makes me feel better than everyone else in this fucked up world. And the last thing I'm going to do is give my hard-earned money to some bullshit university that's going to give me second-rate education and a first-rate cock in my ass. Fuck that, and fuck you for judging me. If you're not in agreement, of course. Back to the point, though. Why am I here? Why is a well-mannered, clean-cut, middle-class white kid sitting in a Hillsborough County jail cell? The question I assume most of the surrounding population is wondering. If you must know, I'm in for suspicion of murder. Wow, right? Big time shit right there. 25 years to life if convicted. Believe me, I'm well aware of the consequences of my alleged actions. Just spent close to 10 hours in an interrogation room where some asshole pig in a suit attempted countless methods for what you know as good cop, bad cop, with an attractive female partner and reverse psychology. I let the Italian side of me take over when I get involved in situations such as these. It's really not difficult at all. They even give you a fucking guide to work through the system. The first words they tell you before cuffing you are, "What, kids?" That's right. You have the right to remain silent. Exercise this fucking right. Silence is the only thing saving you from your bullshit pride and stupidity once those cuffs go on. There is literally nothing you can say or do that will help you in this situation until your attorney is present. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Ask for a fucking lawyer. Don't be a moron. It's the polite and effective way of telling cops to fuck off. At that point, you are temporarily untouchable. I knew that was going to happen from the very second I walked into that room. However, being an avid fan of many crime shows, I wasn't about to let my only chance at being interrogated for murder be put to waste. I wanted to see what those motherfuckers could do. It was a fucking rush, man. No bullshit. All the questions, all the methods, so interesting to me. The best part of it all was seeing Detective Staley, the attractive female partner, rocking sexy ass. She knew damn well what she was doing. I assume it was a part of the desperate plan to appeal to my affectionate side and make me fess up. She had the tightest fucking black pants on. She even undid the top buttons on her blouse. I'll admit, she almost made me break character. I almost slipped up and said some smart-ass shit that would have got my sticky situation a lot worse. But I held it together. I'm Frankie fucking BOZA. I can handle anything. That's my deal. I handle things. So I waited until she made some long-standing eye contact with me, and I let her know the deal. I'd like to speak to my attorney, please. She literally buttoned her blouse back up, right then and there. It took everything in me not to chuckle a little bit. About 10 months ago, I was lounging in my parents' house playing video games in the living room. My mother was working a double shift that day, and my stepfather had some out-of-town work. I thought it would be a great opportunity for a little fiesta. So I called up my good friends Carlo and Jacob. We threw together some cash for liquor, spread the word to a few social circles, and within hours my parents' home was about 50 deep. When I host parties, I don't do much more than hit the blunt a few times. After all, it isn't my home, so I have to stay alert and make sure no one was stealing shit. The party itself had no real issues. Everyone had a good time. I had a quality one-on-one session with Alexis in my bedroom. All good stuff. But about 1 a.m, the good vibes became a distant memory. In came Frederick, my infamous stepfather. Everyone instantly ceased their current activity as soon as this motherfucker walked in the door. I was in the middle of placing jello shots on some drunk bitch that I assumed was one of Jacob's flock of femmes. Great moment to be having an awkward encounter, right? Jacob, being the clutch icebreaker he is, offers Frederick a joint, which is expected as... We'll start that over. I apologize, y'all. Jacob, being the clutch icebreaker he is, offers Frederick a joint, which is expected only escalates the situation. But I'm amused, so I could give a fuck about the imminent consequences. Fred looked like he was on the verge of exploding as he violently yelled, "Get the fuck out of my house, Jacob." Without a word, Jacob and about 10 females at the party stumbled out the door. Frederick commanded that I meet him in his bedroom, and I obeyed. When we got back there, he instantly slapped me in my face. One quick thing you need to know about me before we proceed here. I am very short-tempered. I also have a tendency to get over things very quickly and stop myself before my rage gets me into too much trouble. This was not one of those times. So as soon as that pot-bellied, wife-beater-wearing motherfucker hit me, all hell broke loose. I grabbed him by his shoulder and struck him in the nose with my forehead. While he was dazed and shocked at the same time, I grabbed him head and threw it into a nearby bedpost. He dropped to his knees while holding his face. I had no intention of stopping, so I did my best impression of a punter and kicked him right in his double chin. The fat fuck fell on his back, so I jumped on top of him and began striking him in the face. I got about 3 good licks in before Carlo crashed through the door and grabbed me. "Look, I don't know what happened, bro, but you gotta stop." I resisted with all my might and broke away to get one more shot at Fred's face. This time I let Carlo grab me and let go as soon as I realized I wasn't going to resist again. He calmly suggested that we should get the fuck out of here, and I agreed with him. As we walked out into the hallway, I noticed a trail of blood drops behind me. I looked down at my fist to see it covered in the stuff. So upon walking out the door, I grabbed a towel that was sitting on a chair by the front door and wiped myself off. "Where's Alexis?" "She's in the car." "Is she okay?" "Yeah, don't worry about her, man. Let's go." We quickly hopped in Carlo's truck, and I was quickly hit with the "what the fuck happened?" From Alexis, I was at a loss for words at the moment due to the events that happened in the last 20 minutes and the embarrassment of my girlfriend seeing me with blood on my hands. Carlo bailed me out of this quick mess by saying "Frederick" to her. She hugged me and asked if I was okay. "Yeah, I'm good." Just as Carlo went to stick his keys in the ignition, we heard a loud bang. We all looked towards the front door of the house where Frederick was sprinting towards us with a 12-gauge shotgun. "Go!" I shouted at the top of my lungs. Carlo almost in a half-second blared that ignition and burned the fuck out, which I imagine woke up the rest of the neighborhood after the gunshot. Quite a night for the 3 of us, which was nowhere near being over. Due to the fact that I assaulted my stepfather and he fired a weapon in the middle of a deed-restricted neighborhood, we decided it would be a good idea to lay low for a while. Carlo suggested we go to his brother Roberto's apartment out in West Tampa. On the way there, Alexis didn't say much. She just stayed cuddled up next to me. She's always been good about stressful situations. Almost like one of those stereotypical 1950s wives, she's very loyal, and she doesn't question anything I do. Definitely wife material. But don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those assholes that think women are the lesser sex. I believe all creatures to be of equal importance. No one is less than anyone. If you are one of those prejudiced pricks who believe certain social circles or cultures are superior to others, don't even entertain having a conversation with me, because you're a piece of shit. When we got to Roberto's, Alexis had fallen asleep on my shoulder. I kind of felt like a dick waking her up, because she looked cute all cuddled up next to me. She was very groggy and forgot where she was for a second. When she regained her senses, she had a disappointed look on her face, which made me feel like a complete dick. She always hated Roberto. I understand the hatred on a certain level, because he was a real piece of work. Never held a real job for more than a couple months, a true victim of the trap life. But he seemed to have it together a little bit, which resulted in myself and Carlo looking up to him. He always supplied the party and helped us if we were having issues on the home front. It was always a place to go. On Carlo's 18th birthday, Roberto took us to a local strip joint. Both of our first times, mind you. Both of our first times, mind you. To say in the least, Alexis was not pleased when she found out. I didn't hide it from her or anything. I let her know the next time I saw her, she's not the type to get violent or cut me off for a period of time. She just tried to pretend like it didn't bother her until we were alone together, and then she started crying. I haven't been back in the limelight since. That incident, I think, solidified her opinion of Roberto. I didn't spend too much time around him previous to this past incident with Frederick, so it kind of got put on the back burner. I assumed that the events of the night would dig up some old bones. Carl had already called ahead of the time and let Roberto know what the situation was, so he was outside waiting for us. After I helped Alexis regain her senses and get back out of the truck, I made my way over to Roberto. "What's up, brother?" He had a half smirk on his face when he said it. "Heard you gave that old fucker the hands." I shot a quick smirk back as I gave him some dabs and exchanged a look over to Alexis, then back at him. He understood right away. Come inside, guys. I got a couple party favors to put your minds at ease. Couldn't think of a better idea at the time, honestly. I needed to not spend so much time thinking about what just happened only an hour previous. A couple blunts to the face and some Corona would do just fine. Carlo and I had Roberto about on the floor crying when we told him about Frederick's beatdown and Jacob's offering a hit when he walked in the house. Jacob is a fucking moron, he chuckled. Where is he right now? No clue, Carlo answered. He was a mile gone as soon as Frederick told him to get the fuck out. So he fucking shot at you guys? It was more of a warning shot. He was trying to be scary, I replied. He doesn't have the balls to actually shoot anything. He just keeps that 12 gauge to piss my mom off. Well, it's a good thing you guys came by. I've been meaning to get you about this new quality shit I've been trying to push. It was an ideal quick getaway for the first couple of hours. I shut off my phone and took out the battery. No way was I dealing with cops that night. I was letting that shit calm down. Also didn't want anything to do with my mother's crazy ass for a while. I'm sure she would have had a few words from me after this mishap. I really fucked up this time. No chance of me being able to live at home anymore. But I was fine with that. I was high as fuck, and started working on my buzz shortly after. Alexis and Carlo were meeting my level as well. After all, we had been just partying, so what was the point of stopping? Before I continue with the story, let me give you some background on Roberto's means of earning currency. Like every other high school dropout, Roberto was a useless stoner who hated his parents and desired his own independence. He got with his dealer shortly after dropping out of school and asked if he could help sell. They did the usual and would front him an O for about $200. He would sell the whole batch for $15 a G and would make a couple hundred in profit. Easy money. Everybody loves marijuana these days, so developing a personal network was pretty much elementary for him. When Carlo and I got to be about 16, Roberto talked him into selling around school. Same deal, fronted him an O, but Carlo, being the smart kid he would sell it for $20 a G, because let's face it, high schoolers are fucking stupid. He would cut the extra profit he made to pay Roberto, and just like that, he would always have a little money in his pockets. I was never into that kind of stuff back then. I always figured I would graduate first, and then I would worry about making money and getting out of my parents. Carlo got me into it loosely after we graduated. He would front me an eighth. I would sell it to some close friends at work. I was just a thing I did for gas money, since I stated before, my vehicle is a gas hog and a giant pain in my ass. A few months ago, I got a promotion, so I stopped dealing at work because I had to start disciplining myself. I was told I had a chance to be a general manager one day, so I figured I would play the part. Carlo, however, maintained the lifestyle with his 2 jobs and became a prime dealer for his brother. In the last year, Roberto has been able to sit back and chill. Carlo and Roberto's close friend Eric Johnson networked his supply so he didn't have to. Carlo always supplied the tree for all of the parties, which was awesome because I'm sketched out by the general population of dealers. I'm very quick to place judgment and call them scumbags. I felt that way about Eric Johnson. Eric actually never did anything to make me feel the way I initially felt about him. I'm just really good at scoping out shitbags of the world. Not a hard judgment to make when this specific shitbag was the best friend of a well-known local drug dealer. He seemed to be very aware of my feelings because every time we were in the same room, he was hesitant making introductions with me. I didn't give a fuck though because I'm a dick. I didn't give a fuck though because I'm a dick. Avery rarely show regard for the other people. Alright, I think this is a little mistyped. I didn't give a fuck though because I'm a dick. I very rarely show regard for other people's feelings. Anyway, back to Roberto's apartment. He pretty much blindsided all of us when he told us he was investing in new products. He pulled out multiple pill bottles, about 10 in all. He poured each of them out on the table. Alexis finally spoke out. "Is that ecstasy?" Roberto pointed up at her and smiled. "That a girl," he exclaimed. "All these kids these days love Molly." He wasn't young. At this time, and still about a year later, raves are very much this generation's disco. Everyone is about the peace, love, loud electronic music, dancing, wearing very little clothing, and getting extremely gone off some Molly. Selling at raves is where the real money is. As I'm sure you guys are all aware, the Sundown Festival is coming to town in a couple of weeks, and said Roberto, "If you guys want, I can have you all sell these for $50 per tab." "Hold the fuck up," I interrupted. "Did you just say $50? "Yes, I did. And this is not your normal everyday shit," he answered. "This stuff is prime. I've had multiple customers refer to it as Super E. The effects of it are twice as intense and last twice as long. I already spread the word to some peeps I know that will be there. Everyone will be asking where to find it. The only issue is, you guys have to find a way to sneak it in the festival. You obviously can't have these bottles on you." To my own surprise, and it was probably the weed, I had an answer for this issue almost instantly. It's simple. Almost all the kids that go to that festival show up with bead bracelets around their wrists. Half of them have shit up to their shoulders. All we have to do is cut holes in the capsules enough to the point where we can make them into bracelets. It'll be easy, so security will be none the wiser. Roberto was wide-eyed. He started to chuckle a little bit. Then he looked at Carlo. "Your boy is a natural outlaw, Carlo. That's some straight gangster shit right there. I knew you guys could pull through. Huh, Frankie?" "Hell fucking yes, I was in." It hit about 1 in the morning. Carlo, Roberto, and I were all watching some stand-up comedian on TV while passing around blunt after blunt. I still had a good buzz going while Robert talked my ear off regarding sales prices and details about the products we intended to sell. Carlo was wrapped up in the stand-up show, and Alexis was asleep on the couch next to me. I had no idea at the time why I decided to jump into the business of dealing narcotics. Looking back to it, I suppose I saw that since I had just graduated and had no intention of trying college, I might as well find some way to make money, and this was the perfect time to jump into the pill game. It was summertime. There was like 6 festivals lined up in the coming months. I had a chance to make great money with the girl I love and my best friend. It was risk-free, too. Countless people are in this game with us, and the market we're selling and everyone just wants a good time. No one is trying to stack the suppliers. Also, with the events of that night, I figured I would need a new residence. And let's be honest, I was just a fast food manager. I'd be spread thin every month trying to pay bills with that money, even with the help of friends. I can't even say that it was about money. I was more of my desire to rebel against society and bring excitement to my life. I could give a shit about my parents' wishes for my future, and I gave less of a fuck what the general public expected of me. I was going to be an under-the-table thug drug dealer. I was going to hide in plain sight, and everyone would be none the wiser. I had it all figured out. Reality pretty much set back in when there was a knock at the door. I jumped onto my feet and went to storm out the back door before Roberto grabbed me. I yanked back and he threw his hands up in the air to symbolize surrender. He had a huge grin on his face. "Relax, brother, it's just Eric. No one is going to find you here." I settled down and got back into my seat as Roberto went to open his door. Eric shot in and gave Rob the hug and dabs combination. He had a sideways Rays hat on with his sagging pants below his ass so you could see his boxers. He had the chain hanging off the side of them with a wife beater on. Everything about him screamed scumbag. Everything about him screamed scumbag. I don't know why I was so judgmental. It's not like I'm any better than him in reality, but in my mind, I am. Fuck him. He exchanged a look over to Carlo and me, while maintaining his gold-tooth smile that he walked in with. "What's up, Lo? What's up, Frank?" The tone changed when he got to me, which made me laugh. I instantly regretted laughing because that unintentionally opened the door for conversation and him sitting down right next to me about 8 inches too far into my personal space. I instantly reached for my phone and half listened to him rant to the three of us about how he just got back from the club and how he macked on some bad hoes that were coincidentally nowhere to be found at that current moment. Did I also mention that Eric is 100% white? Not a single ounce of outside ethnicity. And this kid, yet he talks and acts like he is from the inner city. His parents are both lawyers, and they spoiled him as a child. Most likely the cause of his present-day personality. This is an example of a kid who had the world in his hands, and he threw it away to be a piece of shit. I can't help but think of the opportunities I could have taken advantage if I was dealt the same hand as him. Anyway, his loud and obnoxious tone woke Alexis, and she again woke up with a disgusted look on her face. She found Eric to be more repulsive than I did. He took quick notice to her waking up and made the unwise decision to be appropriate. "What's up, Mama? You looking extra cute with that tight shirt on. Hey, Frankie, you sure you can handle all that? She's the full package. Probably too much for a little man like you." Everyone turned to me, but I was too high to really make an attempt at being hostile. To everyone's surprise, I was bailed out by none other than Alexis herself. "Shut your grimy ass up, Eric. You're a piece of shit brat. Learn some respect." Of course, Eric had an answer, but due to his lack of respect for women, he took it up with me openly. "Better watch your girl, BOZA. She might catch a backhand if she comes at me with some disrespect again." That about killed my buzz. Before I continued, though, I feel like I should make something clear. I see women as delicate creatures. There are ones who are just like Eric, unreasonable with a false sense of entitlement, but even they don't deserve to be overpowered or struck by a man, ever. Unreasonable with a false sense of entitlement, but even they don't deserve to be overpowered or ever struck by a man. It is an act of cowardness to strike a woman, and if you are the type of person who does that type of thing, you deserve to be burned. This fact is brought to a higher extent with me when it involves my girlfriend. If you threaten her safely right in front of me, expect some major retaliation. I stood up, and just as he did before Eric entered the room, Roberto grabbed my arm. "Frankie, relax. Eric, say one more word and I'll bust your... Frankie, relax. Eric, say one more word and I'll bust you in the mouth with my 40. Eric threw his hands up. "All right, man, my bad. I was just playing." Before I had a chance to say anything, my phone rang, and I hadn't gotten a chance to check any missed messages because it usually takes a couple minutes to scan. It was of no surprise that my mother was on the line and had tried me about 20 times or so. "I gotta take this," I said dismissively. I glared at Eric the whole time from making the statement all the way up to putting the phone in my ear. "Yes, Mother," I answered. The speaker about broke my eardrum. My mother's tone was loud and filled with disdain. "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I had no opportunity to answer as she kept going. "You broke your stepfather's nose, the cops are at the house, and they want to speak with you." I zipped in a quick comment. "Yeah, I'm not feeling it tonight, Ma. As far as I'm concerned, he threw the first blow and fired a shotgun in the middle of a neighborhood. I just might be concerned with my safety tonight." "Don't be a fucking punk ass. Get your ass over here now." "No thanks, Ma. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow." Everyone in the room heard everything. The silence was broken by Eric, of course, saying his last smart-ass comment. "Looks like all the women rub you, huh?" The silence was broken by Eric, of course, saying his last smart-ass comment. "Looks like all the women run you, huh, BOZA?" I was done with this bullshit at that point. I pulled out my switchblade that Jacob had given me for my birthday the year before. It had a glass breaker on the end of it. Roberto wasn't within reach to pull me back this time, and I went straight for Eric. Before he had any chance to even react or defend himself, I had already struck him right in the eye with the glass breaking end of the switchblade. It literally looked like he was crying blood while he rolled around in the fetal position on the floor. And that is the end of the intro to Drifting BOZA. Thank you all for joining me for the first chapter of this novel series written by my good friend Victor YAKISH at VicYak on Twitter. Be sure to follow him on social media. Thank you all for joining me on this rendition. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for bearing with me with some of the mispronunciations and repetitions of lines, as this was my first time doing a audio rendition of a book. So thank you all for joining me on this special occasion here on the Big D Show. Once again, brought to you by Negdog.com. Be sure to use the promo code Negdog at all of our sponsors and affiliates. Be sure to tune in tomorrow's show, Sunday, January the 31st, for more updates in the world of sports. We will also have a special guest on, more music, and more to come. So thank you for joining me once again on this rendition of Drifting BOZA. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day.
Are your weekends all about time? Then spend it with friends, do what you want, surprise me with something amazing time you crave all week? If so, you belong at Bar Louie. We know you like to start the weekend days early, so grab brunch at Bar Louie Saturday and Sunday from 10 till 3. Brunch served from our scratch kitchen, handcrafted concoctions from expert bartenders, and an unrivaled experience are going to turn you into a weekend regular in no time. It's your weekend, don't waste it on something ordinary. Own it at Bar Louie. Bar Louie, regulars wanted.